So good day everyone, I am KCJ Ardibotado and I am going to report the behaviorism learning theories and the Bobodal experiment. So in behaviorism learning theories, there are two theories, which is classical conditioning and operant conditioning. So classical conditioning theory, this was proposed by Ivan Pavlov, a Russian physiologist. So according to his theory, behavior is learned by a repetitive association between the response and the stimulus. So the classical conditioning theory explains a great deal of human behavior. Emotion plays a significant role in advertising, addiction, psychotherapy, and hunger. This type of conditioning can be applied in our daily lives. So, for example, when we ride our car or motorcycle, we can see a policeman carrying a speed gun. So first thing that comes to our mind is to check our speed. So in response to this, we follow the speed limit ordinance, driving not exceeding 60 kilometers per hour to avoid such violation. So many agree, including including psychologists, that this conditioning is a basic form of learning. So the next theory is the operant conditioning theory. This is also called instrumental conditioning, which states that people are likely to emit responses that are rewarded and will not emit any responses that are neither followed by any reward or punishment. This is a method of learning that uses rewards and punishment to modify behavior. For example is a parole. So parole is the conditional release of prisoners before they have completed their sentence. So when a prisoner is paroled, he or she agrees to follow certain behavioral restrictions in return for early release. So the next is the Bobodal experiment. Albert Bandura included an adult who is tasked to act aggressively toward a Bobodal while the children observe him. So in other words, by observing the behavior of another person, children can learn social behavior such as aggression through observation learning. So that's all about my topic. Thank you for listening.
Good day everyone, I am Perlin Dura and I am the one who discuss about the Bandura's 4 principle of social learning. So the first principle of Bandura's social learning is the attention. This is the extent to which we are exposed, notice the behavior. So the attention is an observer pays attention to particular social behaviors. Their ability to pay attention depends on their accessibility to what is being observed. And in addition, the characteristic of the model have an influence on the observer's attention. So, example is if young children witness gang members gaining money or status, they may imitate those behaviors in an effort to gain similar rewards. And the second principle is the retention. This is how will the behavior is remembered. This is an observer retains sequence of behaviors and consequences which they can retrieve for future imitation of the behavior. And retention, this is the ability to store information, is also an important part of learning process, and this can be affected by a number of factors, but the ability to pull up information later and act on it is vital to observational learning. The retention this can be learned. We learn this by internalizing information in our memories. So the next principle is the reproduction. This is the ability to perform the behavior that the model has just demonstrated. Reproduction, this is the requisite of behavior concerns the physical and mental ability of the individual to copy the behavior that he or she observed. And the reproduction, this is the ability to perform the behavior that the model demonstrated. So the next principle is the motivation. The will to perform the behavior, the rewards and punishment that follow a behavior will be considered by the observer. So motivation, finally, in order to observational learning to be successful, you have to be motivated to imitate the behavior that has been modeled. This usually motivates us later to do or avoid doing the same thing. And it involves learning through observing the consequences of action for other people rather than through experience. So the example is, if you see another student rewarded with extra credit for being to class on time, you might be start to show up few minutes early each day. So in addition to the behavior, rewards and punishment that follow will be studied by the observer. If the observer perceives the rewards to be greater than the cost or punishment, then they will be most likely imitate the behavior. Note that Albert Bandura believed on the concept of reciprocal determinism. And that's all. Thank you.